Let's put the insert query we used in the previous lesson back up on the screen and have a look at coding style, and particularly at backticks, quote marks, and case. I mentioned that we don't usually need these backticks around the table and column names. We only need them if the table or column names are special words in MySQL or have spaces in them. For instance, if we foolishly named a table select or insert, we would have to put it in backticks to distinguish it from the MySQL commands of the same name. If we also rather unwisely named a table myTable with a space between the words, then backticks would enable the name to work, otherwise it would fail. Both would be a very bad idea indeed. It's much better to avoid using MySQL commands, special words as table or column names or database names, or having spaces in their names, and if we do this, no backticks are needed. Some developers have very strong views, either for or against the use of backticks. Those who argue that we should never use them say that if the code's well written, no MySQL special words should ever be used as table or column names or database names, so no problem will arise if backticks are not used. And not only that, but not using backticks means that any special words being used in this way will soon be discovered, as the query will throw an error. Those who argue against backticks for this reason can be quite passionate about this, and may ban the use of backticks in the code that they control. So be aware of this, and don't argue, as in a way they're quite right. On the other hand, backticks don't on their own do any harm, and we can always be careful to avoid using MySQL special words in the wrong places. And as you've seen, phpMyAdmin automatically inserts them when queries are generated. I prefer them for a not terribly important reason. It simply makes it very easy to find all the queries in a whole project, because I can fire up my code editor and do search all for the backtick symbol, and if I use it consistently, I will get a list of every single query. In the end, like a lot of things in web development coding, there's no hard and fast rule. Whether you prefer to use them or omit them, be consistent in your coding style. Quote marks are needed to surround values in queries. We just saw that in the insert into command. Each of the values was surrounded by single quote marks. You can equally well use double quotes. Again, be consistent in which you use. Turning to what case to use for the names of database, tables and columns, I recommend using lowercase with underscores in multi-word names for all of these. You will see them in upper and lowercase, and with camel case, where a name consisting of two words is written as one, with the first letter of the second word in uppercase. Using uppercase anywhere can cause problems, however, because the importance of case depends on the operating system we're working on. You're probably aware that in Windows, file and folder names are case insensitive. There's no difference between a file named myfile.doc with a capital F and one named myfile.doc all in lowercase, or for that matter, one named myfile.doc with everything in uppercase. This carries over into XAMPP, so it makes no difference whether database, table and column names are upper or lowercase or a mixture. They will still work. When we move the project online, however, we're moving it to a Linux system, and on Linux, file and folder names are case sensitive. This means that if the case of file names, database, table names or column names is changed in the upload process, as it may be, or if we use case wrong in our queries, nothing will work properly. For this reason, I always advise that you consistently use nothing but lowercase for database, table and column names, with underscores to separate the words in multi-word names. A final word on coding style and case. You will notice that I've always used uppercase for the MySQL special words: create, database, insert, into, values, the names of the data types, varchar, int, etc. And you will see as I type that phpMyAdmin's suggestions always put them in uppercase. They will in fact work whatever case you use, uppercase, lowercase or any old mixture, but it's normal style to put all MySQL commands in uppercase to make them stand out and to make the code easier to read. The last thing to mention is that MySQL queries are terminated by semicolons. If we have multiple queries, we have to separate them with semicolons in order to tell the server that one command's finished and now it's time to execute it. In phpMyAdmin, if we're typing only one query at a time, we don't need the semicolon. We can press go and the command will run. But if we have multiple commands, we must have a semicolon at the end of each one. And later, when we come to working on the MySQL command line, a semicolon is essential, as the query will not run until the semicolon is there to end the query. That's a bit on coding style and convention, and in the next lesson we'll continue where we left off by seeing how to import database records from an SQL file.